Hi, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness, and you might be wondering, what the fuck is he playing? Well, until I actually played this game, I've never heard of it either. Welcome again to Obscure Japanese Video Game Week. If you're watching this out of order, this isn't going to make a whole lot of sense, and you'll just pay attention to the game, hopefully. I'm going to probably butcher the pronunciation of this game. This is Onechanbara, Z2 Chaos, or Onechanbara, Z2 Chaos. I don't know how to say it. Apparently this is like one of several games in the series. I heard there might be an anime based on this, but basically you play as scantily clad, half human, half vampires, although I think one or two of the girls are actually pure-blooded vampires. I haven't played much of this game as I've been playing Last of Us, but it's tongue-in-cheek. It has as much intelligence as probably a really bad grindhouse flick, but it kind of makes it B-movie fun. This game is probably going to offend a lot of people, mostly probably females, but you have to understand that it's just part of a genre. It knows exactly what it is, and it's not trying to pretend to be anything else. As you play, you can unlock outfits. I haven't played it that much, so I haven't unlocked a lot of things. But yeah, you can dress all your characters. I don't know what's up with the character designs of this. I can't wait to actually put more clothes on them because it kind of looks even ridiculous to me. But again, it's not apologizing. It's supposed to be outrageous and stupid, and it knows exactly the way. It knows exactly who it's marketing the games towards. Now, this game has about as much depth as probably Streets of Rage on Sega Genesis, which is fine. There's not a lot of pick up and play games. I think part of the appeal is the cheekiness of the game. You're like these girls and these sometimes cute outfits, sometimes lingerie, and it just looks like these ultra sweet girls that are, although they kind of have foul mouths, that are like killing zombies and stuff like that. You can tell most of the detail of the character models are being focused. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. You can tell that most of the detail is being focused on the character models. I'm verbally dyslexic. I'll fuck up anything I say no matter how much I try. So if you don't like the way the video is going, I'm sorry. If I ever do a review, I'll be more careful, but this is an impressions video, so it's no holds bar. So we have the control: square is light attack, triangle strong attack, X is jump, O is sub weapon, L1 is refresh weapon. When you get a lot of blood on your weapon, you have a meter. I'm sure it'll explain it since I'm playing the game over again. L2 is the change weapon, L3 is the lock on target change, R1 is the lock on, R2 is evade action, and then you can pause it and read it. Why am I freaking wasting time? The camera leaves somewhat to be desired. It leaves actually a lot to be desired until you figure out how to use the lock on. And the buttons are very sensitive. Like with her jump, you have to very lightly tap it. If you hold jump, she actually zooms to the character. I had to kind of figure that on my own. But this game came with not only an art book and its regular edition, but a album soundtrack, which is really cool. And the art book's actually really nice and made out of thicker paper than most art books, and it wasn't a special edition and brand new. It cost $10 less than a new game, which is understandable because, you know, there's not a lot of depth. This has like the depth of like an old school arcade game, which I kind of miss a little bit because, you know, a lot of the games that are coming out now, not including Call of Duty or whatever, because that's just aim and shoot, although they're trying to add more like depth to that. There's not a lot of pick up and play games that you can play for 15 minutes and then go about your ways. Sometimes the battles do carry on for a bit, but I think it's fun. I like the bonus stuff that the game comes with. And it's a fun B-movie tongue-in-cheek game, and you just gotta take it for what it is. And I remember going to the store. I took a chance on it. I never heard of it. It was weird looking, and I was like, if I don't get this game now, I'm probably never going to see it again. I obviously did terrible. So I took a chance and picked it up. But the character models of the main characters look nice. Now when you go to levels and enemies, they tend to look a bit repetitive. Hopefully I can unlock more clothes, because I do think they look ridiculous fighting in lingerie. The other two characters are just a little bit more modestly dressed and still look kind of cool with the little straps that hold their swords and chainsaws and whatnot. This game came with the most ridiculous free DLC I ever saw, which was the banana split, where the girl literally like wore like a banana peel as a bikini and had little strawberry pasties, which even for me I thought was a little bit too far. But I mean, there's games like Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball that are in this. Like, I know there's probably some 13-year-olds that just want to get it because of the halfway naked women, but I just kind of enjoy these strange Japanese games, not because they have like scantily clad girls in them or anything like that. It's just so bizarre to me compared to what's released here. It like perks my interest, where I just want to get it, and it's like, what the fuck is all this shit about? And that's kind of like how I play, and I have a good time based on, I don't know how bizarre and stuff it is. But there is a pretty lengthy story. Like I said, this isn't the first in the series, which is weird because I'm really good at keeping up with video game stuff, and not to toot my own horn or anything, but I was just so blown away that I never heard of this. I never remember seeing it in a magazine. Maybe it was in one of those Japanese taco like covers or whatever the hell they call them, that have like the mangas in them. I have like a couple of issues I get every time. Sometimes I get them for like art reference and stuff, and they're an interesting read. I know very little about anime, and sometimes it perks my interest, but I'm very picky when it comes to picking a new anime series. So, because a lot of it just doesn't interest me, like the Naruto, I'm probably saying it wrong, and Dragon Ball Z is okay, but I think they need to work on pacing, which they did with the Dragon Ball Kai series. I like the video games of Dragon Ball Z. I think I might have turned the sound too low. When I last recorded Vanquish, I turned it low and it was still too high. So just to be safe, I turned this extra low, and now I can't hear anything. You just never know until you're in the editing process. This is the only way I can really record PlayStation 4 without guerrilla style, like recording it with a video camera. I don't know if the voice is transmitting on the actual game when Anna talks, but it's coming through the controller. So now we have zombies we have to fight against. And there's super moves, as you can see. There's like a bunch of gauges and stuff. But once you get used to the camera and the controls and locking on, the game becomes a lot easier to play. And this kind of tells you how to play it. once you figure out everything, it tells you something new you gotta learn how to do. You have 2 weapons. You have O to use a projectile of your weapon. I think it's different with each one. No, it's the same. I haven't played much of this because I've really been trying to finish The Last of Us. And I was also playing The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which is a short but great game if you like exploratory games, kind of like Myst, but the puzzles are like a lot easier. They have like a warning about the gore, but I think the most outrageous thing is probably the girls' wardrobes that would offend people. I think the gore in this game is pretty standard for a mature rated game. That's just me. It runs really smooth, and it's like an arcade game. You know, I like simple games as much as I like deep games. I think this game's fun. It's obviously repetitive, but all arcade games are. And I used to love those, and it brings me back to the days of scrolling from left to right. And those beat 'em up brawling games, and I enjoyed those. And to do it on a 3D plane is fine. And yeah, it has the novelty of dressing up your character and all that shit, but it doesn't appeal to me. What appeals to me is just that it's bizarre, and it has like kind of old school gameplay, and it has some gimmicks, like when you kill enough people, as you can like you go into like this berserker mode, and depending on whether you're playing full vampire or half vampire, which you're usually, after I'm done killing this person, if you look on the left of the screen, you'll notice that my sword's turning red. It becomes less effective when it's coated in blood, so you gotta shake the blood off like I just did. It's kind of like God of War, where you have to kill all the enemies to proceed. Pretty standard stuff, nothing that's gonna blow your mind.
Just so you know, pressing the triangle and circle buttons together performs a powerful move. When your ecstasy gauge is full, you can unleash an ecstasy combination. Give it a try. This ain't my first rodeo.
Right now she's in like berserk mode, I think. I can't really tell because the sound's down, but it looks like it. These demons are kind of a pain in the ass. This level right now is just trying to get you adjusted to it. The enemies do get harder, especially when they start carrying guns and stuff like that. Well, it's just a good stress reliever if you want to play this game in 15-minute bursts. This isn't gonna be like your AAA super polished title, and that's fine with me, because to be honest with you, when I got this game, I like AAA titles that are super polished, but I wanted something familiar yet different that I haven't played in a while. And I never heard of this game. It was bizarre. I didn't know anything about it, so I was like, I'll give it a try. And it just reminds me of the old school beat 'em up like games with its own unique flair. And I could understand how this game could be offensive to a lot of people, but it's not apologizing, and it's not trying to be something that it's not. It's very self-aware of what it is, and once you get over that, I think you can have a good time. I'm not offended easy. I know there's not a lot of games that have guys in scantily clad clothes, at least not here. But I mean, if a girl played that kind of game and it was campy or whatever like this, I wouldn't give a shit. It might not be a game that I would necessarily be into, but I wouldn't like deny it from somebody else. It's just something that you don't really see often, and I find that interesting. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but you know, look what I'm doing on screen. If you have epilepsy, this shit might give you a seizure, I don't know. But there's several special moves in this game that either activate on its own that was pushing the triangle and circle like they told you could do earlier. Kind of plays a little bit like Dynasty Warriors, because at least these enemies are kind of dumb, and they kind of have to be, because if they were super smart and like 20 of them surrounded you, you'd be kind of screwed. I like this swinging weapon. You also can change the characters on the fly, like I just did now. But sometimes when you change characters on the fly, they kind of heal on their own, and then you switch back when the other character's running low on health. It's probably one of the more weird games that I'm covering on Obscure Japanese Week. Some of the games aren't really that obscure, like Vanquish wasn't really that obscure. I wanted to cover it. I might cover it again because I really didn't know what I was doing on the video, but I didn't want to play the tutorial. And it's the beginning of the week and the weekend were super long. Like, I wanted to get the video out by Monday so I could have a whole week, and I unfortunately passed midnight by the time like everything was downloaded when I started posting videos, so it was a fail. But yeah, between birthday parties, family stuff going on, I just haven't had time to record videos, so I tried to rush and get stuff done in the small time frame that I have. I have a little bit more time today while recording this. One thing I would say is I wish they, even if it required to take a little bit more polygons off of the characters, at least with this level, I wish they would add more variety, because everything kind of looks the same. It looks like they cut and paste, but I'm still not exactly sure what that does. Jumping is a little bit tricky, like you barely have to touch the X button to do a proper jump. Otherwise she does this dashing thing. I wish they made you have to hold the dash button a little bit more. I think it would have worked better that way, so you wouldn't mistakenly dash when you didn't want to. But you get used to it. In a fight with some of these gun-toting enemies that you'll face later on, you'll really appreciate the dash, so it's kind of like a bittersweet type of thing. This is a beat 'em up to its purest sense, so if some reason you like to play games because of the girls and that's doing it for you, and you can look past the beat 'em up part, more power to you. But honestly, you have to like beat 'em up games to enjoy this. Alright, now I know she's in Berserk mode. I don't think she was in Berserk mode before. Unfortunately, I always seem to go in Berserk mode when there's not a lot of enemies nearby. It's like A is not the highest ranking. I never understand like rankings in some of these games. Like, I guess maybe because their grading system is different in Japan. I don't know. But you think A would be like the best one? I forgot what the highest letter is. But they seem to bitch sometimes when they get A's. Like, it's such a terrible thing. I feel like I'm back down where I started. So much for this berserk mode. See, the jumping can get a little awkward because I'm not holding the button. I'm holding the button too long is what it is. It's not holding it, I'm holding it too long. One thing I do miss about some of these older games that are brawlers is there is actually a thumb telling you where to go, or a hand pointing to the direction, or sometimes even an arrow. But here it's like you're on your own. These moles are kind of a pain in the ass. You gotta jump a lot, but this is where that dash feature comes in handy. A lot of these action-based Japanese games are quite manic. Vanquish was too. Vanquish is clearly a better game. This is sort of a budget title that came with a bunch of extra goodies and stuff like that. So it doesn't have the production values of Vanquish. I think Vanquish was like a $60 game when it came out. I probably would have bought it when it first came out if I knew more about it, but Vanquish was one of those kind of games that just kind of, I heard of it in passing, but it kind of snuck up on me. A lot of these games aren't advertised too well. I'm gonna switch characters just because my other one was almost dead. Well, that seemed to work in my favor, or did not. It looks like a Sharknado is starting to happen with moles. I've not seen any of the Sharknado movies, but I saw that they had the second and first one on Netflix, and then I heard there's a third one, and they might be working on a fourth one. I was like, where did these movies come from, and what the hell is a Sharknado? And I imagine just by listening to the word what a Sharknado might be like. And I was like, it's like a tornado of sharks? That's what it sounds like. And sure enough, the bizarrest image in my head of a tornado filled with sharks. I'm saying this while like some pretty weird shit's going on screen. I guess they're trading blood. I guess they go by True Blood rules, where if you get too much vampire blood given to you or whatever, it actually can turn you into a vampire yourself. Or something happens, I don't know. Actually, you have to die first and have a lot of vampire blood. They never show on the show what happens if you have, like, too much vampire blood. There was like one scene like on True Blood where Sookie Stackhouse's brother or whatever took too much vampire blood, what they call V, and it was like taking too much Viagra, and like his erection didn't go away. If you ever saw those commercials where it's like 4 hours or whatever, and make sure you call a doctor, because it actually, I guess if you didn't get taken care of, can cause your private area to basically fall off because there's no circulation of blood flow going in there, so it swells up. It didn't show anything. It just showed everybody's reaction when they looked at it. So maybe that's what happens. I don't know what happens if a girl would take too much of it. But they always like when they're giving blood for the humans to heal, they're always telling them to stop after a certain amount or whatever. But in order to turn to a vampire in that series, you have to die, be replaced, have your blood completely drained out, and then have it be replaced with vampire blood, and then get buried for 12 hours with whoever vampire blood you took from, and that's how you turn to a vampire. I don't even know why I'm telling you all this fan fiction. It's not fan fiction, it's just fiction, because it's actually part of the canon of the TV show, which I kind of feel like didn't end as good as the show started. It doesn't have like a Breaking Bad type of ending where you felt satisfied. I kind of felt like the ending was unsatisfying a little bit. But I'm glad that I had the series while it lasted, and it's one of the few series besides The Office and a few animes which are easy to collect because they're only like 26 episodes. I'm trying to think, and then the Ghostbusters set that I had came in one set of the cartoon, but I haven't collected like a lot of TV shows, and then Weeds and Twin Peaks, but those all came in like a box set. But it's one of the few that True Blood I collected as it came out. Now you can all get it in one set, but I don't know why. That show is really campy, kind of like, excuse me, now I got the hiccups, kind of like this game. Maybe that's what the appeal is. I don't know. But, yeah, this is a fun, simple game, but it's going to turn off a lot of people because of the scantily clad theme. So you have to weigh the pros and cons, but if you want to pick up and play a fun 15-minute game, and if you find a copy, which there's not a lot of, like I've seen stores maybe getting 1 or 2 copies. Like when I went to the store, they only literally got 2 copies, and one of the copies were reserved. The dude never picked it up, but then when I told the guy at the store what the game was like how I'm telling you on this video, he seemed kind of interesting because, you know, we're adults. Like the whole digitalized, scantily clad girl thing is kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's like somebody imagined their fantasy and put it on screen. It's just the fact that it has like the B-movie aspect and the old school beat 'em up gameplay that's appealing, and it's bizarre and campy and kind of like a grindhouse, doesn't take itself seriously at all kind of feel. But you gotta weigh the pros and cons. I don't know, you got a girlfriend, she might get angry if she sees you play this game because she might think you're playing it for the scantily clad girls. I would not be surprised if this game shows up in some sort of feminist debate against video games, but a lot of the people that debate against offensive content in video games, whether it's violence, the over-sexualization of women, or whatever, they usually don't play video games themselves. They'll pretend to. They're like, oh, I played Mario Kart back in the day, maybe. But yeah, a lot of these people that argue about shit that's offensive in video games don't play it. And I would more than welcome like a game to have guys in the same roles. Doesn't mean that it's for me, but if they're gonna release that, it's only fair. I don't care. I just like options, and I like everybody to be able to have a choice to play the kind of games that they want to play. And instead of being a feminist or whatever your stance is or whatever, people need to just start being humanists, because there's a fine line when it comes to fighting for one gender or another, where it almost starts to become sexist, and like really you just need to defend people. We all just need to defend each other and be there for each other and defend each other's rights. Honestly, that's my opinion. I'm not going to get too political. I think this is a fun but not very deep game, and I can understand why it might put a lot of people off. I fully validate it, and it's your choice to play the game or not play it. It's completely up to you. Like, I welcome them to make a game for you, maybe that has a bunch of dudes in it, and that's your thing, whatever. Might not be the game for me, but I welcome them to make it for you. Like I said, I'm here. I believe in everybody's rights when it comes to this kind of games and stuff like that. I mean, if you're really broad, then it's such a complicated thing to verbally say, because there's always going to be like, what about a game that exploits like something that's bad or whatever that's completely like inappropriate, and there's just a fine line. I don't know. I'm digging myself in a hole. I like this game. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please thumbs up. And feel free to leave a comment, positive or negative. I do enjoy the positive ones more than the negative ones. I mean, huge shock there. If you choose to leave a negative comment, please make sure that the comment is constructive and you're not being disrespectful to me or anyone else on the page. If you haven't, for whatever reason, made your decision to subscribe or not, I'd really appreciate it. I want to get to know all of you and have that community aspect that I think's getting lost in the crowd of all these people that are sharing all their videos, usually from the share button on their Xbox One or their PlayStation 4 or whatever. And I really want to get to know all of you guys that are into the same hobbies I'm into. What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you think of videos? Whatever. Because I know that I have more than a few people. The few people that do actually leave comments, I'd like to hear from more of you. And I appreciate those of you who do leave comments too. I look forward to anything. I like communication, even though it's ironic because I'm super shy in real life. Go figure. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you on the next video. Take care. Bye.